team, you got to account for $100 million being gone, right? Because if in any corporation, if it's gone, and I'm paying this out, if I'm the CEO of a company, somebody's got to get fired. But right now, and guys, this was on ESPN, and I kind of just almost fell out my chair when I heard her say this, because I know Deuce, you guys were talking about with me and the professor last night. It sounded like they were kind of echoing in on our conversation, but somebody has to be accountable, and they said it on ESPN. They said Sean Payton has no checks and balances. Nobody is checking him on anything. And that's what we said last night.
And Kyle, I said this about 3 or 4 years ago, and as an accountant, I remember when you asked me the question, I said, I'm not going to put on my hat as a Saints follower. I'm just going to talk as an accountant. There is no way on earth in corporate America they would still be employed. They simply would not. And I've worked in corporate America for almost 30-something years, and you would not still be employed. And here lies behold what I said again. You have a control span that is one man, and it's gotten out of control.
Wow.
Dude, I don't care. You can talk about corporate America. I don't care if I own a lawn company. You know, I'm not going to pay a guy who hasn't cut a lawn for me in 3 years. I'm not doing that. You know?
You're right, Rim. You are right. It doesn't make any sense, man. It does not make any sense. Check this out. Sean Payton had us believing that Andrew Pete was going to be better than Zach Strief, right?
Yeah.
He had us believing, well, if he ain't better than Strief, then he's better than Ben Grubbs would be. Put him here. No, that hasn't worked out yet, but I think he may be good next to Armstead. So we're still waiting on that. Then he had us believing that P.J. Williams or Crawley is going to be better than Keenan Lewis.
Oh.
Think about this, guys. Didn't he have us believing that Spillers was going to be better than Sproles? Also, let's go down. Remember when he said Josh Hill was going to be just as good as Jimmy Graham? Hello.
Okay.
What about Lutz is going to be better than Forbath and Barth?
Well, see, the thing about that, Kyle, is people are still remembering when we got rid of Reggie Bush and replaced him with TJ with Darren Sproles. People still remember getting rid of Shockey and keeping the guy who you just mentioned,
Jimmy Graham.
You know, so people are remembering those moves and anticipating more of them. It's just that lately that hasn't been happening.
No, I think Sean Payton was remembering those moves and thinking he can keep making those type of moves.
But I'm saying we as a fan base, I think, are still expecting that to continue happening. But we got to be real; it hasn't been happening.
Yeah, it has not been happening. It has not been happening.
We can even add to that. We brought back Roman Harper. Where was he Sunday?
On the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we thought that Jarvis Burt was going to be better than Malcolm Jenkins. That's what was told to us. How about this? Coleman was. I think Coleman was said that he's better than anybody in New Orleans prep scene.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, man. Go on, Deuce.
That was cold, man. You get it? Cold, man. That was cold, man.
That was cold, man. Shoot.
Kyle, that was cold, Kyle.
I'm sorry. Look, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Go on, Rev. What you about to say, Doc?
Rev, you need to pray for us, Rev. Pray.
I do. Look, I think especially defensively, we've seen a lot of those failures. But I think a lot of it it's not bad players. Jarvis Byrd to me, and you can't tell a regular Saints fan this because they're just going to vehemently disagree and, throw rocks at you. Jarvis Byrd's not a bad player. Brandon Browner is not a bad player, but they don't fit. And I think that goes back to Sean Payton getting rid of anybody who's not in his little club who disagrees with him. Because there might have been some shady stuff going on with Greg Williams. That's debatable. But Greg Williams would put him in check. Rob Ryan rolled over, but his first year he put Sean Payton in check. And I believe Rob Ryan when he says that Sean Payton wouldn't let him run his defense. Now, I'm not saying Rob Ryan's a great coach. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but I'm saying that Sean Payton is too controlling. And he doesn't know what he's looking at all the time. He's got I think right now, 16% retention rate on defensive players Sean Payton has drafted.
And that's a fail. And that's horrible, and you would be fired in any other system.
Imagine if you were a store manager of some retail store, and you had to tell your district manager that you can only keep 17% of your employees that you hire. You'd be fired. You're
exactly.
Gone. No chance.
Exactly. That is just
has
terrible.
To put him in check, and nobody is, and he's only bringing in people, and this isn't meant to be offensive to Dennis Allen, but Dennis Allen is in the club. Dennis Allen's not going to put Sean in check.
The problem also, remember when the story came out that Joe Vitt was going back to tell Sean Payton what Ryan was saying in the meetings or some of the moves he was making? You can't have a snake. Well, I'm sorry. You can't have somebody in that position who's going to be counterproductive, Mm-hmm. Guys, let's just say this, guys. You're a player. You've been around this system. You've been around the National Football League, or you just coming into the National Football League, and you play for the New Orleans Saints. You have seen over the past several years where this club has gotten rid of major talent. You understand? Major talent. Let me ask you this. From just a man's point of view, how comfortable do you feel playing for this team? Would you go the extra mile for this team? I know you get paid to do it, but really, would you? Hello?
I mean, hey, if I get paid to not work for 3 years, you darn right I would.
Yeah, but we're in a different age. You see what I'm saying?
I think these players. I mean, there's so few NFL jobs, and you always playing for your next contract. So if I'm a free agent and my opportunity is to come and play for the New Orleans Saints, and that's better than any other options I have, I'm putting on black and gold.
Okay.
And I'm going to go out there and play as hard as I can, as long as I can, because I know if I play well, I'm going to get paid.
Okay.
So that's a lot about, we talk about why some of these teams left these players go. A lot of it has to do with ego and money and what the players and the teams can't seem to negotiate and agree upon. Otherwise, look at some of the players that the Saints let go, and they've brought in some bad players, but some of the players that the Saints let go, they're out the league. Ben Grubbs is hurt. He's not playing. Keenan Lewis wouldn't go on the IR. He said, I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. He's not playing. So a lot of it has to look at it both ways. What, as a player, are you willing to realize that, hey, I'm not as good as I used to be? You see that with Jerry Evans. Jerry Evans said, I wouldn't take a pay cut. I think the Saints wanted him to drop down to maybe $4 or $5 million for a 2-year deal. He refused that. He goes to Seattle, doesn't make the team. Now he comes back and is getting less than he would have received had he agreed upon that, hey, I'm not the all-pro guard I was. So it all goes hand in hand, and it's a dog eat. What about me world? What have you done for me lately that's driving some of these decisions? And the Saints strike out seem to be more often than they hit a home run on, because we can't say the Benjamin Watson free agency pickup was bad. That was a great pickup. He was on the team and major contributor. He wanted more money. The Saints didn't want to give it to him. So he leaves and go to Baltimore, and they bring in Fleener. So it goes both ways. It just seems like on the short end of the stick has been more prevalent with the Saints the last few years than it has been on the positive side.
And can I add to piggyback behind what Frank is stating? I just want to add, the other problem is you don't want to reward people when they're productive. You shouldn't have lost Ben Watson. You shouldn't have lost him. You had nothing proven with Kobe Fleener. You had proven production from Ben Watson. You had proven production from Breaux. You even had proven production from Curtis Lofton. And so when you take that risk and you decide, even though I know they're proven and productive, I'm going to let them go, and you didn't take that gamble and you betting that who I'm going to bring in here, they're going to do as well, like Kyle was saying, then to me you're taking a very bad risk because you don't have nothing proven. If I'm staffing my team or staffing my group of people as an HR manager, I'm going to first look at the appraisals, where this person is coming from an organization. And when it comes to football, I'm going to look at their stats and what they've done. And if I see Ben Watson, regardless of his age, then I may say, well, I'm going to go into negotiating with you, Ben, because of your production. I just want to sign a one-year deal with you. But you're proven. I may say with you, Breaux, I want you to come back. I'm thinking you're getting old, that you're not going to be productive. So I'm going to try to get a draft pick, but that draft pick is unproven. I'm going to try to put the best 53 players, regardless of age, the most productive, on my football team. And I think what is happening is that the Saints are gambling on you. And the term, like Deuce was saying, athleticism, or whoever said that. And I'm so tired of hearing athleticism. I'm so tired of hearing that word because these players may be athletic, they may be young, they may be, big size and all that. But when you look at the NFL now and what you see now, there are not a whole lot of superstars in the NFL anymore. And most of them are flashy at quarterback or wide receiver. Like Deuce stated earlier, there's not a whole lot of J.J. Watts in the NFL anymore or Luke Keaton. They just aren't there. And so you're running a snapshot game at, okay, I think that I'm going to move Stephon Anthony and bring in Laurinaitis. Okay, next year, if Laurinaitis doesn't do well this year, they'll be trying to get rid of him. You bring in Keenan Lewis. Well, he got hurt, and you never let him recover, and you want him to come back now instead of just let this man heal up. Maybe you need to miss 4 or 5 games at the start of the season, but let him get healed. So you don't have the patience for that, so you let him go. So it's all the parts of how you make your decision. And you have to make sure you look at all the variables in that decision. Productive, non-productive. Salary hit, non-salary hit. Going to be around 2 to 3 years, I give them a 1-year contract. But you have to find the most productive. All of this crap shooting, well, these crap shootings, they're drawing 3 or 7, whatever the crap shooting number is, and it is just simple. It's simple. It is not working out for the New Orleans Saints, and it has not worked out for a long time. You keep changing defensive coordinators. If Dennis Allen don't turn the Saints around this year and they're giving up 30 points, well, he's probably going to be getting ready to get out the door for next year. And you've got to get a grip on all of this stuff because it is not working. This team looks like the late 70s when the Saints had Archie Manning, Chuck Muncie, Tony Galbraith, Wes Chandler, and Henry Child. I'm going to put up 35 points, but I'm going to allow you to come back in the fourth quarter like the 49ers did them, and I'm going to beat you 35-34. I'm going to beat you 38-35, 38-37, 42-41. That is not a winning formula, and somebody has to get this under wraps because it is falling on the wayside and is spiraling out of control at an alarming pace and rate.
Well said, guys. But I'm going to say this. I have also built winning sales teams, and if I made questionable moves, I know for a fact my personnel will be rumbling in the background and wondering about my leadership ability. Guys, a team is made up of trust as well. And you've got to believe that the person who's leading you will lead you in the right direction. And if I'm going to give my all, and I know you say, hey, you get paid all these millions of dollars, but at the heart of these guys, they still need to have somebody who's really